Good to see you, pal. It's been a while.
It has been a while. Great to have you with us. Let's just get your reaction from that first game, because I think a lot of people tuning in to this tonight would have saw Rob Cross vastly in front in that first quarter-final, thinking, well, he's got the job done here, he hasn't done anything wrong. But then all of a sudden, somebody turned on the Jets and found their way to the end. Yes,
they did. And it was a funny game, because at that point of 5-1, Cross was averaging 110, limited opportunities given to Littler. Littler was averaging around sort of 97, 98, but he put 5 points on his average, and 7 points come off that of Rob Cross. And listen, he's that type of player. I think he didn't play some of his best stuff at the two Players' Championships this week, but even when he was not at it, he made some remarkable comebacks, didn't he?
He absolutely did. I think that confidence boost in that game right there will make him very, very hard to beat tonight. So Littler will play the winner of our next game, which is going to be Michael van Gerwen against Steve and Bunting.
Yeah, remarkably, we're just having a look at some of the previous data on these two. The last time they met was the Players' Championship Finals, which is now, of course, the Winmar World Masters, back in February 2024, so they've not played pretty much for a year.
Probably a good thing for Bunting, though, isn't it? Because, let's face it, the last time he played him, he won a rather large title. But my favourite Stephen Bunting statistic for the day is this. He's been in the Premier League before, which was 10 years ago. But when you look at him playing in Glasgow, he played there once, he didn't win, he didn't lose, because back then they used to have draws. So he's got a really peculiar record coming into this tonight, and he doesn't want to have a record of no wins, 1 loss and a draw going into next week in Dublin.
Yeah, well, although he won that Masters final, overall his record is pretty shocking. Like most people's records is against MVG. It's 21-4 in terms of head-to-head, and I'm waiting for this response from MVG. We've seen flashes of it, and I think he's due, and it certainly wouldn't shock me to see him take away Week 2's title tonight.
What do you make of the fact that Michael van Gerwen, who will play in the second match of the night in Glasgow, he was the only person who didn't play on Monday and Tuesday in Players' Championships? Is this really clever schedule management from Michael? Because we assume that he's going to play next week at the Players' Championships in Rosmalen, which is a short drive from his home in Vlijmen in the Netherlands. Is it just really good management?
Yeah. If I was him and the way things have been going, you almost feel like the more he keeps knocking on the door, he eventually knock it down and pick up a biggie. But the fact that he decided to give it a miss and had another little breakaway with the family, is his priorities changing? Is that desire still burning?
I think the desire is still there, but I think he may be someone who is getting more perspective about life itself as he gets older and wiser. It was interesting to see his reaction to the crowd tonight and their reaction to him as well, because we've seen him get behind Littler and on Cross's back, and this place is noted for vociferous Darts fans.
Yeah, it's a little lively, isn't it, up there? But yeah, when I get to sit down and spend sort of 5 or 10 minutes with Mark Leeson,
he's 5 in the world, he's probably got 10, 11 titles in the last 10 years. No, he's got 4. And his last ranked one was in the 2021 season, which makes everything he's done even more remarkable.
Yeah, and you constantly hear with slight tweaks and adjustments to the ranking system that it's a closed shop. I'm not having that. I think over that Winmar World Masters weekend, the top 16 chopped and changed around, and it always will do.
Michael van Gerwen at the top of the walk-on now is looking very fresh. That is a bad sign for anybody, but nobody in the current Premier League field knows how to manage a 16 to 7 week schedule better than the 7-time champ from the Netherlands.
Yeah, hence the reason why he may have just passed on the Monday and Tuesday at the Players' Championship. We constantly say it, scheduling is everything. Last week he lost in the semi-final, of course, to Luke Humphries, but he averaged 101.5. You know, it's a bit like these defeats Littler's had. It's 105, 107, 108.5. there's hardly anything to hit the panic button about.
You were talking to Laura Turner last week about how you get 2 points from going from the quarterfinals to the semi-final, then you win your semi-final for just 1 more point. It almost places more importance on getting the quarter-final win every week, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Just racking those points up the board, because there is going to be separation. We've seen it before, and it does come around quite quickly, and you fear for the ones that do get sort of stranded in the foot of that table. I just having a look over some of his games, and there's a loss in there since Christmas. Effectively, there's a loss in there with a 90, a loss in there with a 98. Again, that's decent enough stuff. There is slight splatterings of 100 plus averages, where before we're used to his sort of B game or his B game performance level would be around about 100, and he sort of lost 4 or 5 points here or there, but because the standard has caught him up and in some cases surpassed him when you look at what Littler's been doing and Humphries, he's going to find himself in a sticky position over the next 12 months, and I'm not sure he'd be that kind of player that I would sit comfortable with.
I don't think it does either, but last year he found himself in his sticky situation later in the season. He hadn't won a ranked tournament, and then he figured it out by the end of the year, winning in Hungary for the first time, adding another country to his incredible resume. But in the Premier League, he did have a purple patch in the early to middle portion of the schedule. Do you expect to see that from Michael at some point? Maybe a 2 or 3 winning week streak?
Yeah, I think for some of the players, they may find it affects their performances away from the Premier League just through not managing their schedule. I think Michael could well use this to play himself right back into form.
He's the one who's got to do the most travelling in this Premier League, because you think about Bunting from St Helens, from Glasgow, he can just jump on the train on the West Coast main line and go south. Same for Littler. Dobey has to go back to Newcastle, 3 hours drive. Michael has to fly almost everywhere. Not Rotterdam, maybe not Berlin, but the likes of Dublin next week, Belfast last week, Glasgow this week. He's been going across British shores on planes more times than most pilots from every airline.
I wouldn't mind his air miles.
170 left for Van Gerwen. I've picked tonight, Mace, that the 170 checkout will be hit again.
Yes, I did hear that whilst you were with our esteemed colleague Chris Murphy. You could well be right here, as MVG has left the 170, doesn't find the 60, runs for cover, 96, comfortable enough, down to 74 against the throw. And I think that early break in this format is huge, especially for MVG.
Rob Cross actually did a really good job of that, but just wasn't able to finish the job at the end. Treble 14 for Michael, and a beautiful double 16 right in the middle, gives him a 1-0 lead. That's the break of throw that Mace was just talking about. Michael looks very relaxed. The action, even though it is a little bit different these days with the dart pointing to the floor at address, he has evolved with it and is playing well with it. As for Bunting, a dart that is about 5 or 6 grams heavier than about 2 years ago,
89.
finds himself scrapping early here. Went for cover there in the treble 18 and found it to leave 4-1-2 after 3, after making the last 32 and the last 16 of the Players' Championships earlier in the week, which were spitting distance from where he lives.
Yes, he didn't have far to travel, could have got an Uber. Number 5 in the world, he could certainly afford one.
He played Gian van Veen in the last 16 on Tuesday.
Some game.
And he didn't do a great deal wrong, averaging 105.64. But Van Veen did win 6-3, and that was a special performance from the World Youth Champion. Well, we may even see it in the Premier League sometime in the future. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yes, in the next few years I expect to see Van Veen and Wessel Nijman, 2 very, very talented players.
Your take on the fact that there's no Scottish player here in Glasgow for the first in 15 years, Mace?
Yeah, it does feel strange, doesn't it? So used to seeing either one of, or both, Peter Wright or Gary Anderson, of course.
I'm seeing a lot of blue scarves with 180 emblazoned on them. in the crowd. I'm sure there's a lot of Gary Anderson and Peter Wright shirts out there, but who are they behind? As Van Gerwen goes for 120 out on tops. Just high by a centimetre and to the right, so Bunting 156.
Yeah, big ask. Takes a sip of water, addresses the hockey. MVG does have that look about him, doesn't it?
Yeah, looks mean. Looks like someone's been trying to take his wallet off him, and you don't want to do that.
Only 59 for Bunty, down to 97, so tops for MVG. Sweet as a nut. 14 dart breaker throw, followed by a 16 dart hold.
And Stephen's the one under pressure. He lost in the quarterfinals last week to Rob Cross by 6 legs to 4. Average 94. And I'm sure he is very proud of the efforts he's amassed over the last year and a half to get himself back in this Premier League, but this is where the hard work really does have to ramp up.
Yeah, I mean, he's been very smart, hasn't he? He's embraced the social media world and has a huge following on TikTok, and he's doing the business on the dartboard, and those things combined, he's got himself a place back in the Premier League, but he's going to have to start winning games. If you're pointless after 2 or 3 weeks, it's a long old way back.
Yeah, just ask Peter Wright from last year.
And the year before.
Bunting starting with a bullseye, then a 25 and a 60. That is incredibly smart to leave 170. I keep telling you, they're going to leave us so many times. Someone's going to hit this thing.
MVG very nearly left 170 himself. What he did was half his score, down to 134. Bunty finds the treble, lots of room. That was I'm not sure if that was an ironically unlucky nickel. He missed the second treble 20, but nailed the ball.
We're not going to get a 134 finish from Michael though. He goes south, gets 96 for his efforts. That's really interesting. He leaves 38 from 134. We'll talk about that in a second, because that's something that Michael keeps doing. Bunting's missed tops twice, either side, and he's missed double 10 to the right. So Van Gerwen leaving double 19. Peculiar as it is, he now goes for 6 and double 16 and gets a double break for his efforts. Now, I've noticed something about Michael Van Gerwen over last year. He's been one of the best counters on a dartboard for the last 15 to 20 years. But he's started to leave more bogey numbers and more strange doubles, and I'm convinced he's doing it to try and put his opponents off.
Yeah. Phil Taylor used to use a similar tactic, didn't he?
What we should say as well is it's not something that is done in a vicious way. It's trying to engage the brain of the dart players, and they're saying, well, why have you done that? It's taking them off their own game.
Yeah, I used to have the same thing with the American Steve Brown, playing cricket against him. Sort of 2 or 3 throws in, he would randomly go for the ball, and I'd be sort of stood there going, what's he done that for?
Because he was so good at cricket.
Yeah, absolutely.
You wanted to know why.
Yeah. But it was also, when I spoke to him, he said, well, it's multifaceted. One's to get in your head, make you think, and you're stood there thinking about what I'm doing and not thinking about what you're doing, and you'll make mistakes.
Well, what Michael Van Gerwen is doing right now is very close to domination.
Yeah, after a poor visit in the opening 3 darts, he's got himself down to 164. That 180 is just half the score of Bunting. He's down to 180, so doesn't have to do anything special with the 164, and finds a ton to leave 64. Leads 3-0. Bunty on 180.
Michael's doubling's been excellent so far. If he keeps this up, he will win this match. 64 it is, at 3-0, looking to make it 4 in the 16s. He gets 3 of them, so double 8. This is it right, so the adjustment to the 4s is really good. He loved that one. A typical Michael Van Gerwen celebration with the right fist pump, and now he's 2 away from a match with Luke Littler in the semi-finals in Glasgow. Live on the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel.
He's spot on in terms of the doubling. Nico, what is he now? 4 out of 5?
4 out of 6 now.
4 out of 6. 66.67%, and averaging pretty much 102.
Do you remember when people used to do this and it was astonishing?
Yeah, I know. We almost go, oh yeah, 102. Well done.
Yeah, Pro Tour events, people averaging 101 and a bit. Oh, that's good.
Pro Tour events, people are getting pumped with 100 average. Remarkable couple of days on Monday and Tuesday for Players Championship 1 and 2, and congratulations to all the players on the Wednesday who managed to navigate the qualifiers for Euro Tours 1 and 2. Can't wait for the Euro Tours to return, of course.
Belgium's going to be brilliant next month. The Belgian Darts Open never disappoints. That's going to be amazing. And the former champion from 2 years ago, Michael van Gerwen, on 302 here. He's not going to leave a bogey number again, is he? No, he's not, because he hits a maximum to leave 122.
Remarkably, Nico, that's his first.
Is Bunting going to get one as well?
To leave 30. They're both at it.
418s in bull for Van Gerwen for 5-0. He's got the middle of the 54 and another one, double 7. It's incredible! Stephen Bunting has found someone that you can only describe as kryptonite tonight. Insane darts from Michael van Gerwen. 122 out for 5-0, and that was nuclear from him.
Yeah, and that break of throw, of course, means that MVG now has the darts to seal the deal. 6-zip, 71% on his doubles, an average of 105.85.
I hate to say it, Mace, but if Michael van Gerwen was a wine right now, he'd probably be a 73 Latour. This is vintage Van Gerwen.
It is. And he's looking really comfortable doing it. Not overly animated. Down to 268, leads 5-0. Bunty back on 367. He's averaging sort of mid-90s, but it's very much a scoring average, Nico.
Bunting just scratching his head right now, averaging 97.12. He's probably thinking, I don't think I'm playing that badly, and he isn't. But Van Gerwen with another maximum to leave 88 after 9 darts in the 6th leg. He could be done and dusted in about 10 minutes.
If that.
Bunting looking for another max. 140 might be a parting shot as he leaves 87. MVG on 88 to win to 0. Small 20, another treble 18, and double 7 is missed. He is furious at missing that dart for the match.
Yeah, he wanted to get it done 6-0. He wanted to send or put down a bit of a marker. Well, Bunty's had 3 darts that are double in this match, and it all came in that one leg.
Mental strength, treble 17, misses double 18, double 9 can't be missed, and it isn't. So in the first game of the night we had a 5-1 comeback. Now got a 5-0. Any thoughts on that, Mace? Surely
Listen,
not.
Anything in the game right now wouldn't surprise me.
The crowd are chanting what Stephen Bunting has been saying for the last couple of years. Let's go Bunting mental.
And he did in that leg. Superb leg. First leg on the board, had to come in 12 and had to be a break of throw.
Michael's record in Glasgow, because he has played here quite a lot. He's in his 13th Premier League, 9 wins, 4 defeats. Not bad.
Yeah, he'll take that.
43.
A lot of those were where he played once in the night.
Yes.
But over the last 3 years, multiple times in the night. And there's another max for Michael. He wants to get this finished before there's any trouble like the Cross Littler game, that's for sure.
And he'll be aware of that, because of course in the players' practice area there's a big screen in there where you just sort of, just for your own sake really, especially if you're on next, you keep an eye on the match. You'd have probably thought, oh, 5-1, I'll be on in a minute. 10 minutes later he's still not on, and he'd have been watching a fabulous comeback by the world champion Luke Littler.
1-2-4 was not taken by Cross to win the previous match against Littler. Van Gerwen has it to win this match, and he's now got 2 visits.
Yeah, he's got time on his side. Bunty down to 198. Treble 20's found. Oh, misses the treble 16, but leaves double 16 when he comes back for a 6-1 win.
Strongest word of that sentence, when. Is it a case of when he wins this match now? Bunting raises the white flag, and double 16 is found immediately by MVG. An incredible performance. Wins the game by 6 legs to 1. He salutes everybody here at the Hydro. averaging nearly 110, and that sends a very vivid message to Luke Littler, who he will play in the first semi-final tonight, and it will be live on the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel.
Yeah, and listen, we were asking the questions whether it was the right choice to skip the Players' Championship and have a bit of downtime. He's one of those players that definitely misses the game, so when he does take the chance to have a few days away, he comes back recharged and refreshed, and listen, that's as good as I've seen him in every element of the game. The scoring, 75% on the doubles, an average of 109.16.
It's big. It's not his biggest Premier League average, but it's one of the best that we've seen in quite a while. 6 out of 9 on the doubles, that looked like it could have even been better. But when it comes to the Darts Premier League, the last thing you want is an online mishap throwing you off your game. Threat Protection Pro helps you dodge bogus sites. And with the dark web monitor, you'll get a heads up if your personal info starts circulating in the online equivalent of the madhouse. Go to nordvpn.com/dartsvpn and get 2 years plus 4 months free and a birthday deal. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Stay here as the two Chris's will bring you the next quarter-final, which will be one of the winners of the week in Gerwyn Price up against the man who apparently wasn't even supposed to be in this Premier League. He's got a lot to say about that. Nathan Aspinall will be looking to try and melt the Iceman.